Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering college panics as $40 million awarded for false claim of racism. And their insurance company won't pay for it, so they have to pay for it themselves. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Coming from CNN, Oberlin College pays $36 million to bakery owners who claim they were falsely accused of racism. They were falsely accused of racism. This event happened back in 2016. It's long since been resolved. There were even appeals. It's over. CNN doesn't want to admit it, and that gives you an idea of what the owners of the bakery have to still continue to live with because they were falsely accused of racism. But the story doesn't end there. From National Review, Oberlin College sues insurance companies for refusing to reimburse $40 million settlement paid to bakery for false racism accusations. How could it come to be that a college accuses a bakery of racism? A racist bakery. The donuts, they're no good. The cupcakes, the cookies, racist. Well, no, the baked goods weren't racist. The bakery wasn't racist. How did the college get involved in making these accusations? Let's get into the story. From The Federalist, for falsely accusing bakery of racism, Oberlin College finally coughs up $36 million settlement, but no apology. After all this, they still don't apologize to the bakery. After having its name dragged through the mud for alleged racism because it tried to hold an admitted shoplifter accountable for his crime, the almost 140-year-old family business received a $36.6 million settlement from a defamation suit it filed against Oberlin College in 2017. The case was appealed all the way to the Ohio Supreme Court, resulting in the upholding of a 2019 judgment against the school when the court declined to hear Oberlin College's appeal. But the payout wasn't immediate. It took 2.5 more months and an embarrassing op-ed from one of the plaintiffs before Oberlin was shamed into coughing up the money. In a statement released by Oberlin in September, the college said, quote, "We are disappointed by the court's decision. However, this does not diminish our respect for the law and integrity of our legal system. This matter has been painful for everyone. We hope that the end of the litigation will begin the healing for our entire community." How magnanimous. There wouldn't be any need for healing if not for Oberlin College's role in fueling rather than helping to put out the fire that began in front of Gibson's bakery on November 9th, 2016. One day earlier, on November 8th, Donald Trump had won the bid for the White House. Within hours, protests were breaking out in cities around the United States, with some quickly turning violent. In Oberlin, around 5 p.m. on November 9th, Oberlin College student Jonathan Aladdin stole a bottle of wine from Gibson's bakery and was pursued out of the store and down the street by Alan Gibson Jr., son of David and Lorna Gibson, who along with David's father, Alan Sr., owned and ran the bakery. Two female friends of Aladdin got involved in the altercation, which ended with Alan being beaten and 3 students being arrested. They were punching him and kicking him when the police arrived. Within hours, a student-organized campaign alleging racial profiling and racism by the bakery called for a protest and a boycott. The next morning, Oberlin College Dean of Students, Meredith Raimondo, got involved, attending and speaking at the protest. And on November 14th, the college decided to stop placing daily orders with the bakery, something it had been doing for years. In an op-ed penned in September, Lorna Gibson described the ordeal. The school put out a statement that implied that this wasn't an isolated incident. The school student senate passed a resolution urging the school to cut ties with us, which was posted in a display case at the student center. Our business from the students themselves and administrators. We have a small grocery store and sell beer and wine in addition to our pastries and candies, dried up completely. And the students kept showing up to protest. David met with the president of the school, along with other administrators, to try to get Oberlin to retract its baseless claims that we were racist, and to quell the small group of students who, in their passion, had gotten us so wrong. But Oberlin would not even consider issuing a statement and allowed the public to believe that we were in fact racist, even after the students pled guilty. The students actually pled guilty to the crimes they were accused of with respect to the shoplifting from the store, in addition to assaulting the guy working at the store. Instead, the school proposed a deal where, in the future, if a student were caught shoplifting, we'd call the dean instead of the police. My husband and his dad firmly believed that everyone should be treated equally, so they refused. Eventually, in 2017, we felt that we had no choice other than filing a lawsuit against Oberlin for libel, among other things. because David's 89-year-old father, who had dedicated his life to the business, did not want to die being falsely branded a racist. The three students ultimately pled guilty in a deal that provided for them to pay restitution but served no jail time. And the Gibson family won their suit, and months later received their settlement. But as is so often the case, the process was the punishment. David Gibson died of pancreatic cancer in November 2019. His father, Alan Gibson Sr., died in February 2022 at the age of 93. Both lived long enough to prevail in court, but not long enough to reap the reward of that victory. The system worked, but elites have the power. In a December 18th Fox interview, Lorna Gibson's demeanor was not that of someone who just got handed $36.6 million. Why would it be? The damage to the Gibson family and to their business has been incalculable. Gibson said she plans, with the settlement, to fulfill her promise to her dying husband to keep the bakery open. It is gratifying to see the sordid tale come to an end. In this case, at least, the system seems to have worked. Those who sought to use a simple shoplifting incident to push their own harmful and dishonest ideological agenda did not, in the end, succeed. At the same time, it's clear where the power lies in this country, and it's not with the small business owner who's simply trying to keep his doors open and do an honest day's work. It's also apparently not with the college student who doesn't have the platform from which to mount years of legal appeals. Instead, the power clearly resides with the deep-pocketed elites who lord over our nation's institutions and with the academics and bureaucrats who have for a long time now believed they are untouchable. To date, the school has still not apologized to this family. They could apologize. They've chosen not to. It appears they still do believe they are untouchable. Oberlin College concluded its September 8th statement by saying it isn't worried about the effect of a $36.6 million payout on its bottom line. Quote, Oberlin's core mission is to provide our students with a distinctive and outstanding undergraduate education. The size of this verdict is significant. However, our careful financial planning, which includes insurance coverage, means that we can satisfy our legal obligation without impacting our academic and student experience. Behold the privilege of the truly elite. But the insurance companies aren't actually paying. That's their problem right now. The Oberlin College student experience would be better served by teaching said students that it's disgusting when mean, nasty bullies take advantage of the vulnerable just because they can, and that the best thing to do when you've screwed up is to admit that you're wrong and suffer the consequences. They could also teach students that shoplifting from local businesses is wrong, and that if you do it, you might get caught. Jonathan Aladdin knows that now. Too bad Oberlin College doesn't appear to have learned any of its own lessons from this whole disgraceful affair. But it is coming back on them because they've made the payment for the settlement, and they can't get their insurance companies to pay them back. So they're suing them. I am not an insurance attorney, but I think it's very likely they're not going to get the money. From National Review, Oberlin College sues insurance companies for refusing to reimburse $40 million settlement paid to bakery for false racism accusations. Insurance is very important for businesses and schools to have. What's the purpose of insurance if something goes wrong? You have a financial institution to step in and help you out. But the problem is, it doesn't include wanton acts. You can't just go and either commit crimes or create negligent incidents or dangerous circumstances. There's a duty of care to make sure you're operating within a normal environment. At no point did any of these insurance companies say, okay, we'll back up a woke agenda. We don't care who you defame. Keep calling everyone racist. Never back down. We'll pay any claim that you get found against you in a court of law. No, that's not what the insurance companies are there for. Not to indemnify abuses of power. Oberlin College is embarking on another legal battle now that it has finally paid out $36.5 million in damages to a local bakery for falsely accusing the business owners of racism. This time, the college is suing 4 of its insurance providers after they failed to reimburse the school for the multi-million-dollar judgment in the Gibson's bakery case. After years of long battle, Oberlin agreed to pay the massive sum to the bakery in September 2022. Gibson's Bakery sued the college in 2017, accusing the school and one of its administrators of hurting its business and libeling it over an incident in which the son of the business owner stopped 3 black Oberlin College students, one of whom was stealing wine bottles from the store in November of 2016. Students from the school protested the bakery after the arrest, handing out flyers outside the shop telling patrons to shop elsewhere. The flyers also accused the Gibsons of having a long history of racial profiling, citing the November 2016 incident. Witnesses who testified at the trial said Oberlin College Dean of Students Meredith Raimondo participated in the protest, handing out stacks of flyers for others to distribute. The dean of the college attacking a local bakery. Oberlin College regularly purchased baked goods from the bakery for its student dining service, but suspended its purchasing for a month after the incident. The students ultimately pled guilty to misdemeanors in 2017 and said Alan Gibson's actions were not racially motivated. That was from the students. The students who did the crime said that Alan Gibson's actions, the bakery guy, were not racially motivated. That was in 2017. This CNN article, which is really still defaming Gibson's bakery, is from 2022. Bakery owners who claim they were falsely accused of racism, they were falsely accused of racism. In 2019, Lorain County Judge John Moraldi awarded the bakery more than $40 million in punitive and compensatory damages. However, the sum was later reduced to $25 million, though the bakery was awarded more than $6 million for lawyers' fees. The $36 million payment includes post-judgment interest. Now the college is pursuing legal action against Lexington Insurance Company of New York, United Educators Insurance of Bethesda, Maryland, Mount Hawley Insurance Company of Peoria, Illinois, and StarStone Specialty Insurance Company of Cincinnati. Oberlin College filed their lawsuit in Lorain County Common Pleas Court in April, accusing the insurance companies of wrongfully refusing to honor their promises they made in their respective policies to protect the interests of Oberlin College, and the school's former vice president and dean of students, Meredith Raimondo. And remember, Meredith Raimondo was the dean who attacked the bakery for being racist. The college had $25 million in commercial umbrella liability coverage from Lexington and another $10 million from Mount Hawley. The school had an additional $5 million from StarStone and $25 million in overlapping educators' legal liability coverage from United Educators, according to the lawsuit. I'm not some insurance lawyer expert, but I'm telling you, you can't just go around defaming people, keeping it up, especially when you know it's not true, and then just say, hey, don't worry about it. My insurance company is going to pay the bill. There is a limit to liability insurance. Quote, these policies were intended to provide seamless coverage for lawsuits like the Gibson litigation, the complaint says. Unfortunately, the defendant insurers have failed to pay a penny towards the $36 million sum that Oberlin paid the Gibson plaintiffs. They also have failed to pay for the full cost of Oberlin's appeals, which were pursued at the behest of the insurers in order to reduce their collective exposure. The college claims the insurance company said that some, if not all, of the damages would be covered. Well, that sounds like something you guys should have gotten down on paper. The lawsuit alleges Lexington and United Educators allegedly engaged in a systematic, multi-year effort to avoid their coverage obligations by attempting to shift responsibility from the Gibson lawsuit to each other, other insurance companies, or the college. Lexington and United Educators both had numerous pretrial opportunities to resolve the underlying litigation for a small fraction of the eventual verdict, and could have settled the case for less than $10 million before the trial, the school alleges. The college claims it even told the insurance companies to do so. United Educators is now refusing to renew the college's policy after 34 years, the lawsuit says. Well, why would they renew the policy? These guys are dangerous. You're also suing them. If you're going to sue them, why are they going to want to do more business with you? William A. Jacobson previously noted at Legal Insurrection that a motion to intervene filed by Lexington in 2019 offered evidence that the company was likely planning to refuse to cover the judgment. The company wrote in the filing that the policy at hand, quote, potentially provides coverage in relation to personal and advertising injury, defined to include defamation and or disparagement in certain circumstances, but that it excludes any such coverage if personal and advertising injury is caused with the knowledge that the act would violate the rights of another, or if the insured published material it knew to be false. Further, the Lexington policy provides coverage for punitive damages insurable by law, but only when the corresponding award of compensatory damages is also covered by the Lexington policy. Producing flyers that say that the bakery is racist when they know that the bakery is not racist is enough to not get the college paid. This is what the flyer looked like. It says, "Don't buy," with a big star at the top. This is a racist establishment with a long account of racial profiling and discrimination. Today, we urge you to shop elsewhere in light of a particularly heinous event involving the owners of this establishment and local law enforcement. Please stand with us. And you want the insurance company to take on the liability for producing these defamatory flyers? Are you out of your mind? Yes, they're out of their mind. Why else would they do this in the first place? Wake up, Adam. People are like this. I'm having a hard time accepting that people are really like this, but they are. The filing went on to note that the plaintiffs in the Oberlin case allege that the defendants Oberlin and Ms. Raimondo, that's this lady, published material that falsely characterized the bakery owned by plaintiffs, Gibson's, as being a racist establishment. While such allegations potentially implicate personal and advertising injury, plaintiffs also alleged that the statements were published with malice, were intended to injure plaintiffs' business reputation, and were part of a purported campaign to harm plaintiffs. If it is established that the defendants knew the alleged statements were false, or if the defendants knew their alleged acts would violate plaintiffs' rights, the Lexington policy would exclude coverage for any resultant damage. Thus, Lexington seeks to intervene in order to submit jury interrogatories to determine the extent of the defendant's knowledge in relation to the alleged publications. This story has colleges, it has accusations of racism, it has lawsuits. If you know my channel, these are things I'm all really interested in. But what I'm most interested in is people getting reasonable again, trying to treat each other the way they would want to be treated. And you know something? People can make a mistake. There can be the heat of the moment. I myself make mistakes all the time. We all do it. We have to take responsibility for those. We have to apologize before they turn into some big thing that blows up out of control and destroys people's lives. The Gibson's bakery owners did get a lot of money in their lawsuit, but the owner died before that got done. He never got to really see the victory. In addition to that, people still think they're racist, even though they're not racist. CNN, 5 years later, in a public article is saying the bakery owners who claim they were falsely accused of racism. It is false racism. What else do you need to see? We must all treat each other the way we'd want to be treated so that we can live together in a society regardless of people's skin color, genders, sexual preferences, different identities and aspirations and hopes and fears. Everybody needs to kind of treat each other with a decent level of respect. And if we make a mistake, let's apologize for it and not turn a small problem into a massive problem. I'll continue to follow this story and let you know what happens. But I would not be surprised if those insurance companies are not forced to pay for Oberlin's deliberate actions rather than what would have been Oberlin College's mistake, which is actually what they were insured for, not for deliberate actions. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.